Live on several services. Technology these days, you guys. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Zoom, all at the same time. Thanks again for being here. If you are watching from any platform that is not Zoom, then you can go to entreport.com/livestream, where you will find the Zoom link and you can join the conversation here in Zoom. I'm going to do a bit of a presentation and show you what we've spent the last year building for you. And then we'll do some Q&A and talk about the future, and you guys can hassle me about all the other stuff we haven't built yet. Let's see. Hey, Patrick, how's it going? Thanks for being here. Stuart. All right. Great. And it is 2:30. Let us just start on time. There will be a replay of all this for the next couple of days. We're going to talk at the end of this hopefully not too long conversation about how to get access to the stuff that we've been building. It won't be today, it might be Thursday though, very soon. Hopefully not much longer than that. Could be as late as next week, depending on how things go in the last couple of days here, trying to get things into shape for you. But yeah, let us get started. Let's see, somebody's still admitting people here. Great. Cool. So today is a big day for us. We have been planning this set of features for quite a long time, couple of years at least. We've been working on them for, well, engineering's been working on them for nearly a year. Our product team, which does all the design and specs, has been at it for longer than that. So this has been a major project by the majority of the team here that builds stuff for you. And we think that it represents a major step forward for the platform, and will probably change what you think Entreport is to you, and how we serve you in your business. I'll just get my chat thing going here. Good morning, Amy. All right. Let's see. Cool. So hopefully you guys made it to the last couple of conversations that we had. This was too long to do in one conversation. If whether you did or you didn't, what we talked about was a couple of things. In the first talk a couple of weeks ago, we talked about why personalized web experiences win, and the sort of psychological foundations for why personalization works, why bespoke experiences perform better, why the biggest businesses in the world are those that are delivering the most personalized, slickest experiences, and how the technology has been moving towards making that kind of experience available to smaller and smaller businesses. That today we have, obviously the Googles and the Facebooks and the Netflixes of the world are delivering hyper-targeted, hyper-personalized experiences and reaping the benefits of that. The sort of next generation of software platforms are now doing similar sorts of things. We talked about stuff like guitar apps and training apps and financial apps and coaching apps that are now delivering, that are significantly smaller businesses than Google, now delivering very personalized experiences to their customers. And we talked about how there's this new sort of technology platform that's generally called the no-code web app development platform space that has been maturing over the last 10, 20 years and is very close to kind of hitting, I think, an inflection point where today those the features that are required to build a really tailored, customized experience for your customers and prospects are still pretty technical. They're just a bit out of reach for your average entrepreneur. Platforms like Bubble and stuff. Certainly, the most technical among us can figure that stuff out, but it's a bit of a learning curve for even folks that are as technical as I am. I'm not a coder, but pretty geeky dude, I'd say. And boy, some of these tools are a lot. But the next evolution of these platforms is going to make them sort of drag and drop, MailChimp simple. And when that happens, the ability to deliver these hyper-targeted, personalized experiences is going to be available to every business owner in the world. And when that happens, well, every business owner in the world will start delivering those kinds of experiences. And the bar that we all have to deal with in the marketplace, the expectations of our customers is going to raise. And so it's really going to be up to us to decide whether we're the ones that are about to get disrupted or if we're going to do the disrupting with this new technology that is absolutely going to come over the next few years and change the way that small businesses interact with and engage their customers. So we also talked about some of the important concepts around what web apps are. And we talked about data and templates and personalization and access. We even talked about this kind of model of what it is from a high level that apps like all of them, Airbnb and Expedia and all these kind of DoorDash web apps do at a high level. They're fundamentally they're taking in data, whether it's tracking data or customers filling out forms or data that's getting input somehow. They're storing that data in a sophisticated databases. They're using automation and other database tools to transform and manage that data and kind of crunch that data and get it into the shape we need it to be. And then we're taking that data and we're using it to deliver those kind of bespoke personalized experiences, whether that is sending out the right email at the right time or whether it's displaying a page that is the results of a search or the details of an Airbnb listing or an Expedia experience on the web. And what we also talked about is how a lot of the stuff that constitutes those fundamental building blocks of a web app are already things that Entreport has been building for over a decade and is really really good. Let's see. Just want to make sure that everybody's getting in here. It looks like we're good, right? Everybody's good. It looks like Melanie has some kind of problem. Maybe zoom out, Melanie. There she goes. All right. Cool. So we've been building this stuff for a long time, right? We're really good at gathering data. We got all the forms and the tracking and the APIs that are automatically generated when you create new objects, and obviously importing and logging and tracking and all that stuff that Entreport already collects. We already have more information about your customers than any platform out there. We also have this really sophisticated database that we've been building and delivering to customers for nearly a decade. Obviously, the simple stuff like fields and sections and organizing records, but also custom objects and relationships between those objects. Obviously, we've taken care of a lot of the stuff around scalability, availability, security, access, and permission. Right? We have permissions to control every aspect of what people can see in your app and what data they can get to and stuff like that. Very important. Then we've got this transformation stuff, right? We've got the if-then, we got the campaign builder, which is soon to be renamed the automation builder. Prepare yourselves for that. But the automation builder is a great way to take data and when this happens, then do this. If this is true, change this. Do calculate, blah blah blah, copy and paste, search and sort, all that stuff that we can do with the data that we have in our database. And then of course we've got all the automated tools to use that data, right? Take that data, whether it's in the app itself, we've got card view and list view and detail view and all the different ways of groups, sifting and sorting and searching your data. We can take that data and put it into messages with merge fields and send the right message to the right person using automated campaigns. And the API is, again, another way to get data out. The one thing that we really haven't done is to take that data and allow you to use it in templates in the way that we described last time we met with the Airbnb examples and stuff like that. Obviously, if you guys came to those meetings, you will have figured out now that today what we are introducing is Entreport's dynamic CMS. And this is, for us, the first big step towards delivering this truly simplified no-code web app builder experience that we think is possible and coming very soon. This is going to deliver a good chunk of the stuff that we talked about. Are you going to be able to build Airbnb completely with this release? Not quite, but you're going to be surprised at how close you will get with the stuff that we are releasing today. So my goal today is to share with you at a very high level what it is that we have built for this version 1 of Entreport Dynamic CMS, and give you a couple examples of how we'll use it. I'm going to actually dive into the app and show you what it looks like and how it works. We're not going to do like a full-on training today. We'll save that for another time. There's this is a pretty robust V1, and there's a lot of features that you're going to want to understand. And so we'll save like a deep dive training for later. We'll kind of skim over some of the stuff, but we'll get you a good sense of what's going to be possible. I'll show you a couple of examples. We'll talk about what is next for the platform, because we obviously have an extensive roadmap. And then we'll talk about at the end about how we're going to roll this thing out. And let's see, this time in the past, I've kind of done more of a presentation. This time I'm going to stay a little more focused on the chat group here and try to answer some questions. We'll definitely leave some time at the end to have a conversation and get you guys on here live as well. So let's check it out. This is super exciting for us. It really is the culmination of a very long-term vision for what Entreport could be, which is the ultimate platform for builders on the internet. So what is Entreport Dynamic CMS? CMS is obviously short for Content Management System, and this now brings fully fledged content management functionality to Entreport pages, allows you to create personalized web experiences for each visitor using the data stored in your Entreport account, bringing true no-code web application development to the Entreport platform. So big picture, there are 3 chunks of functionality that I'm going to talk about today. The first one is the ability to create a dynamic template and to take data from your Entreport account, whether it's in contacts or custom objects, and to use that data to fill out the templates the way that we saw that Airbnb does with the individual listings. The next piece is what we're going to call dynamic blocks. And dynamic blocks are our way of taking multiple records and creating lists of data. So remember, when you do a search in Airbnb for houses in Santa Barbara or whatever, you don't see one page with one house. You see a list of a single page with a whole list of houses, right? And so dynamic blocks are our way of handling that situation. Of course, there's a bunch of functionality around how everything links together, but the next big chunk of functionality that we're going to kind of gloss over today, because it's a little more sophisticated, is something we call page types, and that is how we handle the hosting and URL management of all of this stuff, and how we kind of create the magic so these pages get automatically generated and hosted on the internet at the appropriate time. So um, let us stay. Let's just hold the answers for a little bit, Pete. We will get to Q&A in a minute here, just so we keep everybody kind of together here, so as we don't get ahead of ourselves. So here is an idealized example of what this is going to look like. Dynamic CMS, an overview. So here is what we're going to see, and I've got just a couple of slides, and then we're going to dive right into the app, and I'm going to show you. So first of all, those of you who are familiar with Entreport will notice this Pages thing now has a couple of new items. Excuse me, in the drop-down menu, dynamic templates and some settings. Dynamic templates are the place that we're going to build page templates that allow us to create something like this Airbnb listing here. So it's basically going to take content that's in particular records and use that content to fill up these templates and generate pages on the fly. Dynamic blocks are a way to display multiple records at the same time on a given page. So in this example, what we have here is Rachel. Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is a list of the reviews that Rachel has given for properties that she has visited. You can see that there's a template here, right? This is it says there's 8 reviews, but then there's a template. It says, oh gosh, I have my glasses on. It says September 2021, and then below that it's got the review, and then her name and her location, and then when or I guess it's what is this? Am I totally wrong? This must be the reviews of Rachel's places. I'm not even sure what I'm looking at here. The person who reviewed her here, Jennifer from Francisco, joined Airbnb in 2014, like that, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 repeating what we're going to call dynamic blocks that are taking different records, which in our case would be reviews, or a custom object called reviews, and just repeating them down the page. And if you're familiar with Entreport Pages, what you'll notice here is that there's a new thing. It looks like a little database icon, and it sits next to the global blocks icon, and you can convert a block into a dynamic block, and it will then, there's some new settings that show up, and it will allow you to fill that block up with data and then repeat it down the page. Really pretty cool. And then we've got page tiles. It's actually page types. And that is how we manage the URL structure and some other settings about when and how these pages are going to get hosted on the internet. And we're going to mostly slip over that functionality today. It's a little more complicated, but it's very powerful and super cool. So when we think about dynamic content, obviously a big piece of the thing is the templates, but the other big piece is the data. And one of the questions we want to understand is, what data can I use to fill up these templates? And the answer is almost anything in your Entreport account. So clearly, you can use contact information, like, you could create a page that has the name and the photo or whatever it is of each contact. But you can also dig into the individual records and use the information from the record of the contact that's visiting. That's how you get that real personalized experience, right? So all of a sudden I could take and create a page that shows the purchase history or the open orders of a particular contact, or any data that's related to a particular contact on a page in a dynamic block. We can also use, of course, pre-made objects like deals, companies, virtual events, all those objects, including any custom objects that you create in your account, can be used to fill up these templates, these dynamic templates that we'll build. So that's going to make this extremely powerful. So without further ado, let's just jump in and create what is got to be one of the simplest use cases there is. And that is a blog. So here is what this looks like. As I said, can you all see my screen? Yes, you can. As I said, we've got a, this is my, my sort of demo account. So you can see I've got all sorts of different objects here that I've created as we've been building this thing. But if you get in here, you'll see that you've got your pages. These are your static pages, the ones that you're used to. And then we come back here and we've got dynamic templates. And these are pages that are going to get filled up with data. And I got a whole bunch of them here. I am just going to pick, let's see, this one right here for now. And you're going to see some new things about this page that are different than what you see in a static Entreport page. If you think about how this works, you want to create kind of a layout, and then you want to be able to say, on this page, I want, one headline to show up and a photo and a subheadline and a date and an author and all that stuff, and then the actual post title. So what we want to be able to do is to identify elements on the page and link them back to the object record that is going to create these things, right? So so what we've done here, and I'm actually just going to come, what am I going to do here? Let me just back out for a second and show you what I did first here. Hold on, I think I have another slide. Here it is, yes. Let's talk first before I dive in about exactly how we're going to do this. First, we're going to create a new custom object. It's called blog posts, right? And what we're going to have is we're going to create a bunch of fields, and the fields are going to be those fields that fill out the template. So that is going to be like the post title, the post date, the slug, the SEO information, the images, and the content itself, right? Some of you may have noticed, if I'm not mistaken, that we released some new field types to everybody. Is that true? Those are out for everybody? I think it is. But what you'll see here is if I go to blog posts and I click on a particular blog post, here is a record, and you create these just like any other record. Add fields. Now there's these image fields. We have this thing called rich text fields now that allow you to create, the blog post content itself. All kinds of stuff you can add to the sucker. So that's going to be the first step. The next step is we're going to create a dynamic page template. And this is the template that we're going to create. I already created it. I'll show you how I did that. The third step will be to set up the page type and how we're going to host this thing, which, like I said, we're going to briefly cover. It looks like this, but we're going to kind of skip over that for today, talk about that more in the training. And then lastly, we'll publish the individual page. So that's what we're going to do real quick. So we've looked at the blog post record here. Now I'm going to go into the dynamic templates. And we're going to look at that Mesa Lane template that our design team put together. It looks so beautiful. And we're going to see, this is what it ends up looking like. You can see this domain /blog / my first blog post. And this stuff all came from that record we just looked at. So how do we do that? What you're going to notice is that when you add let's see, I'm going to actually just delete this for now. Add a headline in here. There's the thing that we're used to. Big headlines capture attention, right? And we make that into our headline format. What you're going to see is that we have a new icon here when we hover over this sucker, and it looks like a database. So when you click on it, it's basically going to allow you to select a field from the record. When we created this template, it asked me what object is this template going to be used for, and I selected blog posts. And so now it knows that this is a dynamic page for blog posts. And what we can do is we can drill in here and we can select the post content headline and save that sucker. And it's going to pull that headline in from one of my records. This is one of these records. And then we do the same thing again for subheadline, and then we do the same thing again here. You can see this is the main post image that got pulled in, and then down here we have the post content itself, which looks like. Let's see if I can get the little hover thing to go. I guess. Oh yeah, I have to do like this. blog post fields to post content, and kind of on and on we go. These are would be linked up to share links. And here is this over here is linked to the author image, so we can see how this works. This is the author, select author headshot that got linked up there. So when we look at different records, this is all going to get replaced with different stuff. And we actually give you another new feature that allows you to see kind of what this is going to look like when you click on preview. So you're going to see a bunch of new stuff up here. There's this arrow next to the preview button. And what this is going to allow you to do is to preview this page as what it's going to look like when it's filled in with data from different records. So this is the data source right now. It's this I procrastinate for 3 hours blog post, but I can click to the next one and it'll refill this out with the next blog post. And I can go again and fill it out with the next blog post and see exactly what this is going to look like from post to post to post. Now, it's not only the data from the records that I can use here, from the blog post records. I can also, of course, use the data from the record of the visiting contact. That's what we've always been able to do using merge fields, right? So you can also, I haven't done that on the blog post because you wouldn't normally, but you can also select a contact to view as a particular contact, so you can see exactly what it's going to look like for each individual person. And when I click preview, what you'll see is that it saves the page for me and then creates a preview here, and it'll show the page example of the record that I just created. So that's pretty fancy, right? So far, we have just in a few minutes created a blog post object, filled it up with some data. We've dragged some elements onto the page. We've linked those elements up to individual records in our account, and we have previewed it to see what it's going to look like. Now, when we publish this thing, this is going to be just a republish, but what we're going to see is this next feature that I had talked about a couple times called page types. And the first time you come in here, you'll set this up and it's going to say, you're going to create a blog post template. And what you'll see here is that I was able to type in any URL structure that I wanted, and then I used merge fields from the record itself to create the dynamic URL structure. So when we look at this sucker, it looks like this: getprogress.com/blog/my first blog post, because that was what we put in to this field called the post URL slug. Now you can get really creative with this and do a lot of different things here. But I'm going to leave that for now. There's a bunch of stuff about automatically publishing stuff, and we're going to kind of leave that for now. But one thing that's important to notice about this is that page types are a sort of level above, an abstraction of templates. And that means that you can have more than one template for an individual page type. That's a really important feature, and it's a limitation of some of our competitors, where you're locked into having one template per object type. In this case, you may want to have different templates for different use cases. For example, let's say you were writing a food blog, or maybe you were going to create an e-commerce store and you have shoes and pants. And or, you know, in the blog example, you might have desserts and you know, savory dinner meals. It might make sense to use different templates for those different record types. For example, shoes would have shoe sizes and maybe different photos than pants, which have, you know, I don't know, I'm not an e-commerce guy. Maybe in the dessert scenario, you would want to talk about the calories of the dessert, whereas with the dinners, you might want to talk about how long it's going to take to make the thing. One of the things that we talk about in the training program that we developed on this new platform is veterinarians and wanting to create kind of a portal with records for each one of your pets. And of course, you would have different fields that would display for birds like wingspan than you would have for dogs, which might have something like hair color or breed. So how you control that now is actually really kind of interesting. When you create a new page type, if you go back to the blog posts and we go to the individual record, what you're going to see, I'm showing this to you so that you can begin to get the wheels turning about how this is going to work for you in your business. You're going to see this new tab here called Pages. And every time you create a new page type, you're going to get a new section of fields here. And the section of fields has a few fields in it. The one of them is the URL. Another one is whether it's published or not. So if I click this off, then all of a sudden that page is no longer published on the internet. I can turn it back on and it's published again. But here, and then we got just some basic data about visits. But here what we have is the different templates that we have created for blog posts in this account. So as we can see already here, we've got this Mesa Lane blog post template that's at getprogress.com.
Landon, we can't see the screen.
Oh, thank you. We've got this Mesa Lane blog post here that is at getprogress.blog/myfirstblogpost. And here we have the template here that shows that we're using the Mesa Lane template. Now, if I wanted to change that to a different template, I can just switch it, as simple as that, and go back and visit this page again. And now what's going to happen is that same content is going to get pulled into a new template. And I can keep at that, right? If I've got another one I want to use here, I can just flip the thing and click again and reload the page. And now we have a third template with the same content in it. What's really exciting about this is that because you have the power of Entreport's automation engine, you're going to be able to publish and unpublish pages, flip templates, and to different templates for specific records using the automation tool. So, for example, you might have an automation that says, hey, if a new record is created, then if it's a dog, change the template to the dog template. And if it's a cat, change the template to the cat template. And then publish the page. Very interesting stuff. So for some of you who are used to this, you're going to see immediately, I think, how powerful that is. And the rest of you will figure it out later. But it's a very, very cool feature. Okay, so just like that, we have created blog posts, which is really pretty cool. One of the things I should show you is that if we go into this page, it's not just the elements on the page that are linkable back to the blog post record, but we've gotten a little deeper than that. You can link things like background colors and images, and you can even get in and get into your SEO settings and link. Wait a minute, I'm on the wrong page. Excuse me. 1 second. Just one here. Dynamic templates are not the same as static pages anymore. Get in here and look at your SEO settings, and what you'll see is even the title and the description and the social images all have database links where you can link those suckers back to fields in your blog post record, which you would do just by clicking on this sucker, drilling in here, and then go SEO page title. Click, and there we have it. I think that field is blank there, but that is how that works. Okay, so that is blog posts. Very cool. Dynamic pages. Now let's get a little more sophisticated and add comments to our blog. What's a blog post without comments? Well, it's blog post without comments, but check this out. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to scroll down here, and what we did is we just added an element that says join the conversation here, and I'm going to just create this fresh, so you can see what this looks like. I'm going to add a blank block here, and I'm going to edit it a little bit, change the spacing, go full tilt here, and probably change the background to the light color. Great, move that sucker over. Now, what you'll see up here is a database icon. And I'm going to take this block and convert it into a dynamic block, because what I want to do is I want to pull down comments that are related to this particular blog post and show them in a list on this page. So when I click convert to dynamic block, it's going to ask me, well, what data are we going to use to fill up this block? And what you'll see here is that we've got all of the top level objects that I've created in my account, custom objects. And if you scroll down, you've got some other stuff. You've got data that's related to the visiting contact. So I can pull the notes from the visiting contact. I can pull the open orders, the transactions, the products they've purchased, the all sorts of. This is a bunch of custom relationships that I've made to these other objects. Notice this: lessons completed, comments they've made, comments on lessons, things they've favorited, and then we also have another data source, which are those things, those bits of data that are related to the dynamic page that this dynamic block lives on. So in this particular case, that's what we're looking for, because what we want is not all the comments. So we created here a custom object called comments, and comments is a children of blog posts, right? One blog, because each comment has a parent. It goes to one blog post, doesn't go to any old blog post. It's a comment about a single blog post. And so those are going to live in there as children of the blog post. And so what we have here is children of the particular blog post that we're looking at. So if we're looking at this blog post, it's going to be these comments. We're looking at a different records blog post, it's going to be those comments. And so that's what we're going to use here as a data source for this thing. And so we just converted that to a dynamic block. And when we do that, you'll see there's some dynamic block settings that show up here. And this is going to allow us to do some fancy things that we probably skip today, but you'll be able to filter those things. So only show comments maybe that have been approved by a moderator, or only show comments that were made in the last year, or whatever it is you may want to do there. These conditions will be useful in other cases. For example, maybe you've got a page at the top of your blog that says, this blog is about food, and we've got 3 categories. We've got lunches, we've got dinners, and we've got desserts. And you might have 3 links to those 3 categories. Then you want to create a category page that shows all the posts in a particular category. And you would do that by adding a condition. You'd show a dynamic block of all of the posts, and then you would filter it by the category that you're looking at here. Then you've got a setting about, you've got a setting about how many records you're going to show on initial load, and then what happens with additional ones. You can have a next button or a previous button, and then the sort of the records as they show up. So I just don't need to really set that stuff right now. Now, what we're going to do here is we're just going to add some text on here, and we're going to then link this text up to. You're going to see that we have new options. We have the data from the visiting contact. We have the data from the page that we're on, which is this blog post. But we also have this guy here, which is the data from the blog comment, the record in this particular dynamic block. So that's what we're gonna use, and that's going to then be the comment text. We're going to go up here, and we can go in here again, drill into the dynamic block fields, and go to the author and grab their first name. And then we can, this guy's first name is Yelp. And we'll probably change this to a label. And that basically is all we need to do. We're going to, and we can, of course, continue to add stuff to this, like the date that that comment was made and stuff like that. And we're going to scroll down here and you can see that there we have it, a dynamic block repeating the name of the people with the comments and kind of all the information that we put on this thing. We continue to make that fancier. You can see that in this, well, I don't know if I did it here. In this case, well, it's about the same, isn't it? But we can get fancier than that if we wanted to. So that is how you can add. Oh wait, I didn't talk about the how we add new comments. So here we have adding new comments. Of course, is as simple as collecting fields in a form, right? It is. You know, what do you have to say? This is a comment form and a first name and an email. Of course, if they're logged in, you can skip the first name and the email because we already know who they are when they're logged in. So you could just ask for a comment. And when you submit this sucker, you're going to see that, let's see if I can go back to, this is a new comment on the fly. This is McFly. Fly at fly.com. And I don't know how we've got this set up here. Oh, see, we're not using the same template anymore. We've changed this all up now. We're gonna have to go back and change the template to see the comment that we just made. But anyway, that would work. So this is how we did that. We created a new custom object for comments. We added a form on the page to collect the comments, and we added a dynamic block to display the comments. It's as simple as that. You're going to be able to use this for a million different things. As again, some of you, I'm sure, are already understanding how powerful this is, and some of us will take a minute to begin to get our minds around this, but very powerful stuff. One of the other things, too, I should show you just briefly so you can know that you have a complete platform here. As we look at this, we've done a lot of thinking about how this all gets linked together as well. And so, you know, obviously at the bottom of a blog, you may want to have something like related posts. And when you do that, you're going to want to link those posts to the, you know, the posts that they're promoting. And so when you link this stuff, you're going to see that we've kind of thought through a lot of this stuff. You're going to be able to click on, you're going to be able to link to a related field. You're going to be able to link to you're going to be able to basically link to everything. You're going to be able to link to the dynamic page, that the pages that are available for a particular record. You're going to be able to link to any URL field that lives in those records. You're going to be able to link to the next record. So for example, if you have a blog and you want to click next and previous, you know, in a particular category, you'll be able to do that. A lot of thinking has gone into kind of how this is all going to work. When you, I'm not going to get into it more than that right now, but when you go to build this stuff, you're going to be like, how do I? And then it's going to be right in front of you. It's pretty cool how we've put this together. So what else can you build with this thing? For those of you who for those of you who kind of understand this stuff, you're going to immediately have a bunch of ideas. The most obvious things are things like forums and private messaging and, of course, courses and lessons. This is going to be a breakthrough for those of us who are doing using membership sites to create training programs, right? Today, one of the drawbacks of Entreport for creating training programs is that when you create a new lesson, you have to create the page from scratch, the old way, right? You drag the information on it, then you got to link it all up and put it in the right course and blah, 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 right? In the future, what many of us will do, not everybody, but what many of us will probably want to do is create new objects, maybe an object for courses, maybe an object for lessons, and then create templates for those things, and then have them all kind of like linked up and nested appropriately so that when you go to create a new lesson, all you do is you go to the lessons object, click plus new lesson, add the content there, and you're done. It will automatically appear and be linked up and be working kind of all immediately. Customer portals, of course, once you have somebody logging in, you're able to show them basically all the data that is in their customer records. That's going to be their open orders. That's going to be their previous transactions. All that stuff is going to be available for them to see if you set up dynamic pages and blocks using that data. A knowledge base would be a great use case for this thing. In fact, we have been working for nearly a year now on our upcoming Entreport University, which is going to be something like 155 video lessons about all aspects of the platform, including this new dynamic content. And that completely uses this platform. It's basically 2 templates. It's a course, or maybe it's 3. It's courses, it's sections, and it's lessons, and 3 templates, 155 pages, all in a couple of objects. And of course, you'll be able to do a ton more. Now, as I said at the beginning, this is merely a V1. It's a very powerful V1, and there's a lot of people that are going to be able to build a lot of really cool stuff with this. But there's also a lot more that we're going to be able to add to this platform. We just wanted to make sure we could get this out to you as soon as we could with a robust feature set that some of you are going to be really excited about. That said, we've got a list of kind of next steps that are a mile long that we're really excited to continue to add to the platform. So what are some of those things? One of those things is file upload fields. Many of you are going to want to have students uploading homework or managing contracts or whatever that might be. And so that's a project that's getting kicked off now. Entreport sites is clearly something that many of you are going to want right away. That will be things like the ability to upload a site map and do site-wide scripts and styles, stuff like that. Things that you're going to need now that you're going to potentially build a website with 1,000 pages. So we're going to take care of that. Searching is going to be something that will be really useful, right? So if you want to create a knowledge base, for example, in version 1, you'll be able to create categories and have people click to find things. But of course, it would be cool to be able to have somebody type in a search and get a result, and that's something that we are working on. Dynamic lists are going to be really exciting. It's going to be something that I probably shouldn't even get into right now because we've gone deep enough for one day, but a very powerful feature that's going to actually enable us to actually build dynamic content in emails themselves. So imagine an automated email going out that shows you what you left in your cart, or the new blog posts from the week, or offers that are related to your particular interests. Very exciting. Down the road, we'll get sort and filter as well for dynamic blocks. We'll get products, add to cart. Much more is coming. I should add, I intended to show you, and I kind of accidentally did show you, but some of the stuff that we talked about you being able to build, we've already built here. For example, this is a community forum that we built in Entreport, and this is ask a question. It's a form that creates a new one of these. This is my question here. You can see it counts up the number of replies. It's got the last number of replies. You can click on this, and you can even see the individual comments and the kind of the whole thing. Basically, a forum is very simple to build here. It takes just a few minutes. You can do private messaging, private forums. You can kind of a bunch of stuff that we've already created in here. That's really quite impressive. But as we get new features added to this thing, you're going to be able to build stuff like a shopping cart, a scheduling app, searchable databases, two-sided marketplaces, social networks. Much more is coming soon. So let's see. When can I have it, and what's it cost? Good questions. So one of the things is that never in our history have we added a cost for a new product, but we're going to have to do it with this one. The reason for that is that this is, a totally new functionality that's not even along the lines of a marketing automation platform that you signed up for, but also this is a whole new profile of usage and impact on our infrastructure. Those of you who are database people are probably already wondering, how the hell are you going to support this? The new hammering that you're going to get from people using this dynamic content, and it is a important question. It's been a big part of this project, managing that. The answer is that it's expensive to manage this new sort of way that our data is going to get used. And so there's going to be a cost associated with that. Those costs are going to scale with usage. We'll talk about that in just a second. But here's the rollout plan. So this thing is still in beta. Our Entreport insiders, who are the people who are either certified experts or a handful of our top referral partners, have had access to this for about a month now. It's been in alpha. They haven't been able to use it in live accounts. They've been using it in sandbox accounts just to play with it and get used to it and begin to understand what it can do, but it's been buggy, not ready for prime time, which is why you haven't had it. As soon as it is ready for prime time, we're gonna roll this out in beta. And that means that it's a good product that we are confident in. There's no major known issues. In alpha, we have a list of known issues, and we just haven't gotten around to fixing them yet. But we don't release things into beta until there's no major known issues. And we're very close to that now. Very likely to get there, well, very soon. It could be as soon as this Thursday. If not, it will probably be next week. But very soon we're going to get this thing into beta. And so what we're going to do, though, is we want to kind of limit the usage of this thing as we begin to understand what the usage profile is going to look like as we roll it out to customers. Currently, only pro and enterprise users have access to custom objects, and custom objects are clearly a core part of this feature set. And so the rollout plan is to give it to those users, pro and enterprise users who are on this call or who watch this call in the next couple of days, and make a post in our Facebook group, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. We're going to try to limit it to the people who are engaged and paying attention, like the 110 people that are on this call. Thanks for being here. Our goal is to get some initial feedback. I'm sure that you guys are probably going to flesh out some bugs that we didn't catch in our extensive QA program. And we also have a few other features that we would like to build and get into the platform before we begin to charge for it and call it a full-fledged product release. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to roll it out for free to our engaged pro and enterprise users over the next couple of days. I'm going to ask you to make a post in the Facebook community with your use case and your account number. I'll tell you how to do that in a second. And it's going to be free while it's in beta. So that'll be for the next probably couple of months, the rest of December, likely much of January, somewhere in the January, February timeframe, we figure we'll be ready to roll this thing out of beta and into a production release and begin to charge for it. So when it's publicly released, dynamic content will become available as an add-on to all plans. So that means you're going to get dynamic content, and you'll also get limited access to custom objects so that you can build your blog posts records, for example. So the pricing is still going to be finalized. We think we're pretty close on how we're going to charge for this thing, but we really do need to look at what happens as you guys begin to roll this out to customers and use it in real life. We think we have a pretty good idea. And so what we believe is that this will start at around $50 a month, and the price will increase somewhat based on the number of objects that you link to dynamic content and the number of records that you put in those objects. So for example, if you have blog posts and comments, that's 2 objects. If you have 100 blog posts and 1,000 comments, that's 1,000 records. And so starting at about $50 a month for limited usage and going up from there, we hope to be able to deliver a a very robust feature set that will satisfy most users in the kind of $100 to $150 range. So that's what we're shooting for, but we do need to just make sure that we're not blowing it and charging less than it actually costs to to support these accounts. So we'll figure that out over the next couple of months. We'll make sure that we give you our initial buyers a great offer to sign up at the beginning, and so we'll take that from there. Deep dive training will be held soon for our beta users. We'll announce that to the group of people that that jump in with us, and here is how we're gonna get you beta access to this product. Have a Pro or Enterprise Entreport account, because those are the only ones with custom objects, and you're going to need that to put this feature to use in any significant way. And the next thing is, I'm going to post, when I get off of this call, a post in Facebook that's going to say, want beta access? Tell us your use case and your account number. And what you will do if you want access is to tell us your use case and your account number. So you'll say, I'm going to create a membership site with courses and lessons, or I'm going to create a website. I think I'm not sure exactly how you say your name actually. One of our insiders created a site for pets in the local dog pound that needed adoption or something like that. That's a great use case. Somebody's going to make a blog. So tell us what you're thinking. What kind of apps are you going to build for your customers using this functionality? And then give us your account number. Your account number you can find, if you don't already know, it's right here. Just hover over the little man and your account number is right there. Give us your account number, and when this thing is ready, which will be either Thursday or likely next week, we will add it to your account. Like I said, it'll be free. One thing you should know is that when it does become available, you'll want to stay connected to the Facebook community. We'll be talking about this thing. We'll be answering questions. Our own team has had access, of course, to this for about a month, so they're getting familiar with it. But the builders of this thing, of course, are in the Facebook community and can answer lots of questions for you. One thing you should know, one thing you should know is, stay connected there, because we're gonna when we give you access, we'll tell you, and then what you'll need to do is you'll need to come to, where is it actually? In advanced features, Entreport Dynamic CMS, you'll have to turn it on in your account, and that'll be the first thing that you'll need to do to get all this stuff to show up in your account. So very good. Thank you for listening to that complicated set of features. It's actually really simple. I know that it seems like a lot. We start talking about databases and elements and linking and stuff like that, and it feels like a lot. But trust me, once you start getting in there and building this thing, it really kind of comes together very quickly. It is, I believe, the simplest tool that is out there that does anything remotely comparable at the level that what Entreport is up to here. So let me answer some questions here while I've got you. I'm going to scroll back here. And if you want to start answering questions that you missed too, let's see. Oh, this is great. And if anybody wants to just raise your hand, feel free. Terry, did you want to ask a question? Just go ahead and unmute yourself and let's have it.
Yes, hi. Hi, Landon. Thanks. This sounds very powerful and I'm very interested. Cool. I don't know that I have the right level of account, but I think what I understand you to say is if I jump on your Facebook page and say I want to participate, I'm in.
If you have a Pro or Enterprise account, yes. But okay. For beta access, we're going to limit it to the people who have access to custom objects right now. So that's a Pro or Enterprise account. If you really want to get access to it early, you can upgrade to a Pro account, or you can wait a month or two and we'll make it available to all account levels.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, thank you.
And by the way, Thanks. You are the fastest talking man I know.
Well, you were welcome. Sorry, I try to get through a lot in an hour, and my hour's up already. So
it's very efficient.
Okay, good. Michael Wilson, what have you got to say?
Yeah, I'm just curious. So we've actually been talking internally about building like a customer portal, something that we can pull in, not just like what users are doing with us, like from a proposal and invoicing perspective, but also like managing their projects that we're working with, so they understand the status of those. So I definitely see the power between using custom objects, even for like project management, and being able to track that and pull that into this using this dynamic pages and templates. So I'm just curious on how some of the other features, if they do or if they don't, interact from the membership side, as well as from the being able to pull in, for example, a proposal or invoice from custom objects.
Got you. So so I'm trying to figure out how I unshare my freaking screen here. Am I sharing my screen?
Not anymore.
Okay, good. No, very great. So I was hoping to see you. Okay, there we go. Let's see. That was a bunch. The answer, I think, to your question is great use case. We've definitely got our eye on that kind of thing. Some of the stuff like file upload fields are going to get really useful for those sort of use cases. Membership absolutely does. Was completely thought through and is available and usable with this version 1 already. So you can make sure that people log in, get access to certain pages, all that kind of stuff. We've actually created a program, a system where we use tags on pages. So if you tag a page and tag the contact with the same tag, you can set it up so that they have access to that page. But if they don't have the tag, then they can't have access to that page. So it's a kind of a simple way of dynamically delivering access to individual pages. In terms of invoicing, again, we have our eye on that. Not available in the first version, but absolutely on the roadmap. Totally get where you're going with that, and we've already gotten there in our minds as well, and that will be coming.
Will this also have, like, for example, like we work a lot for our customers with Entreport more than anything.
Yeah.
So being able, like, let's say we're building all these dynamic things, will this be able to be something similar to kind of how you have like templates and stuff now, we can kind of upload something that's already built to a contact's account? Would that be something that's coming possibly in the future?
So it's a little more complicated with custom objects for some technical reasons. Moving stuff around with custom objects is challenging. It's why we built these default objects. Like deals and companies. We're going to do some of that as well with other objects. So we'll create blogs, for example. We'll create forums. We'll create courses and lessons that you can just turn on. And at that point, it'll become somewhat easier, not 100% easier, not 100% easy yet. The dealing with the marketplace in this stuff is something that was a big project that we didn't tackle in version 1. Definitely will be something we tackle down the road. In the short term, if you're signing up new customers and you have a sophisticated build that you want to kind of start them off with, we can work with you, and you can reach out to Brendan on this, Brendan at entreport.com. And we can work with you if you feel like you have a bunch of people coming through, and kind of create an account template so that when they start, they'll get your whole account pulled over. And this is something that we work with our certified experts and some of our top referrers. So and we also have some more functionality around sharing that we're working on now, because we anticipated that there's going to be a bunch of needs in this regard. It's just complicated, and we wanted to get this out to you as quickly as we could.
Totally understand. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Ryan, what's up?
Hey there. Sorry. Hey, will this allow us to create dynamic payment pages? Like, say, have a single payment page that we can then kind of slurp different products into, so I don't have to keep building new payment pages?
Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. So that again is something we've absolutely thought of, and isn't going to be available in version 1, but is definitely high on the list. So the way we envision that in the shortest term is something like an add to cart button that would be able to be dynamically linked to products. So we would expose the products object, as a data source, and then be able to link an add to cart button to the dynamic page or the dynamic block that was generated from that products object. And then you would be able to go to a checkout page and it would automatically load the products that are in your cart. So that's a project that we have coming in the relatively short term, something we'll definitely tackle in 2022.
Incredible stuff. Thanks, Landon.
Cool. Thanks for the question. Let's see. David Harmony.
Hey, Landon. Wonderful.
How's it going?
Hey, great. Hey, is there a way to reverse the use case where the person who's authoring the page is a contact and then we are responding to them?
Sure. What is the use case?
Think about cases where you're coaching, where they're initiating kind of a question, kind of answer. You showed that tonight with your question answer template. But in my fitness business, they're going to pre-record their injuries. And it's very important that I understand the whole lineage, the history of their injuries, so that I coach them properly. They would be the one creating custom objects, and I would be responding to them. So the use case, I think, is the opposite, the reverse. No,
not quite. So they wouldn't be creating custom objects. They'd be creating custom records, right? Yes. So you would have a thing called an injury report, right? Or something like that. And they would have some fields. And so all they would be doing is filling out a form, creating a new injury report, right? And that form would be, could be linked to their record, so that then when you go to the contact record, you have a series of injury reports, and then you could create a page that shows a particular contact's list of injury reports. You could click on them and see all the details. Absolutely, that is doable with this version.
And they would be able to edit and possibly delete in case they've made a mistake, or
absolutely delete. Yes, delete. We're pretty careful with the delete button.
Sure.
Now you could. There's a couple ways you could do it. You could create like a delete flag and then just filter those out so they don't see them anymore, but they remain in your account. Or if you really wanted to delete records, we would get you to use the API and a webhook, just because deleters, we don't want to be automating a lot of delete stuff. So just because
they would be able to edit.
Absolutely. So editing would be, you would create a form and then pre-fill the fields in that form with the existing data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a great use case. Coach B. Unmute, Coach B.
Right there. Okay.
There we go.
Thanks, man. I appreciate your time. I think I need to become a pro level, but I wanted to ask the question, if and when I do, I don't know what that costs, but the use case would be a Q&A that a member can come to the private pages, the membership things they can do. They click Ask Coach B, for example, comes up with the page. They type in a title, type in the question, and then later, within 24 hours, I received this information to answer the question. And then it has a list down below. It says search for the topic or topics. And those questions all are there. 5 or 6, they can rotate and add more. But they click it, it shows the question and the answer. And they click it and it collapses. And it has all of available to all the people who have paid their membership to be able to see those questions asked and answered. And then they can do their own question and get that and add to that database or Q&A list that just grows and grows. So I don't have to keep answering the same questions. It's all right there.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yes. So most of what you just said is doable in this first version. Definitely the asking of questions and the answering of questions and getting a note when somebody asks a question and all that stuff is absolutely achievable with the current version. From what I heard, I was trying to capture it all. I think that the search piece is not there yet, but it's something that we're going to be adding. It's like right near the top of the list. Fortunately, it's one of the things that we need for our own Entreport University that's coming out. So it's going to get prioritized if I need it. So that is definitely coming. And then the other piece, I think I heard something about a collapsing. I'm not sure about that. Sounds like something that could probably be done with a little custom code. So I think mostly yes. If you can hold off on the search for a little bit, this sounds like a great use case.
Very good.
Great. Yeah, thanks for the question. Pam. The ubiquitous Pam
Hi, Landon.
Pierce, how are you?
Great. So if you are using it for your course, then everything you can do, I can do. You don't have anything special that you're doing that I can't use, right?
I'm sorry, what you broke up right in the middle of that.
Oh, if you are using it for your course, then everything you can do, I can do, right? There's nothing special you're doing that I cannot do.
No, our team just uses the features just like you would.
Okay, and the second is I'm helping people build houses and I'm creating a specification.
Yeah.
So that's based on the answers they give. I put it into the database.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any limitation on the size of things I can put in there? Because they'll keep adding and it might be pages of comments that they put in and notes that they put in. And I would like to add in documents from vendors that they're going to be using.
Yeah, exactly. So there's going to be pricing that will scale based on the number of objects that you create and based on the number of records that you create in those objects. So things like a comment is probably going to be a record in an object called comments. So, if you have 500 comments, that's 500 records. And, if you start to get thousands of those, the price will begin to go up. Entreport is a very powerful platform. We have accounts that have, millions, literally millions of records in multiple objects. So the answer to the question is no, you'll be able to do what you need to do. The price will go up as you start to become a very heavy user. But I think that sounds like exactly the kind of thing that you should be able to do with this.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Pam. Scarlett.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so a question, I have a lot of awesome use cases here, but one thing I was wondering is if there was a way for the data to be sort of aggregated. So I have a personal finance membership, and I was thinking that it would be I could definitely see having my members input their net worth, like their assets, their liabilities, and then their total net worth. Yep. And I know on our end, we could see the total change, but I was wondering if there was a way for there to be a field that kind of adds up how their net worth has changed while they've been in the membership.
Got it. Yeah. So there's two ways to do that. The first way is to use what we call math fields so you can use automations to say somebody created submitted a form and put $40,000. I just bought a $40,000 house, or my crypto went up by $1 million, or whatever it is. And you might say total net worth equals total net worth plus this new number they just added. And so that you can kind of update that field in an automated way like that. So that is the way that you could do that today. A more robust solution to the problem that you're talking about, it would be something like roll-up fields, where you would have a number of records, and then we'd be able to automatically create a field that's like total net worth, and it would just automatically always be correct. And so that is something that we see as very important. It isn't in version 1, but it is absolutely on the near-term roadmap.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Scarlett. Thanks for being here. Pete.
Hey, just thinking of potential use cases.
Awesome.
Because I work in entertainment, which is probably a little bit different to a lot of people on this call or other Entreport users. I'm just thinking, could you pretty much recreate IMDb with this new functionality? I mean, Absolutely. When the search comes in.
Simple, yeah. Simplest use case ever. Yeah, a searchable database for sure.
That's all.
Yeah, great. Yes, good. We'll get right on that search situation. Yeah, Michael.
Hey, so I just asked a question. My mind is spinning with ideas, so I figured I'd bring these two up. So one, before I forget, is is there a way to, and maybe this is going to be in a later version or maybe not at all, but is there a way to use the data in different views? So for example, let's talk about the Airbnb thing that you talked about.
Yes.
I want to display all these properties on a map, for example, to show where these properties are laid out. Would that be something I can pull from the database and display that on a map, for example? I'll start with that question first, and I'll go to the next.
Right. So that'll be something that you'd have to kind of custom code a little bit using Google's tools currently. But certainly that kind of functionality is, you can imagine how we would want to build that, right? Like drag a map onto the thing, what data are we plotting on this thing, and make it super easy for you. It's not available in the first version. In the short term, you could kind of hack that together with some code. But yeah, down the road at some point, we'll get to that for sure.
Awesome. So then the second thing is I can really see this being useful for people because I can see how this can be used also for creating custom proposals.
Yes.
And having like an accept button and having that proposal linked back to a bill.
Yep.
So I wanted to find out, obviously, like for us, we typically send out like an invoice anyway. So if they accept the proposal, then we send an invoice. But I'm just wondering if that would be possible to basically create a dynamic page that's a proposal template, fill out the information, and then display that to just that client.
The proposal, absolutely. The payment is something, that sort of dynamic payment is not available yet. Showing the proposal, no problem. If they click accept and they have a card on file, that's something you could probably handle. But like creating a dynamic checkout page is something that will come down the road.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Michael. Amy.
Thanks for such a informative and awesome presentation, Landon. Really enjoyed this morning. My question is in relation to, I guess, like when to jump in. Yeah. We create tailored virtual learning journeys or learning experiences for teams and leaders in organizations. And so we're doing a lot of customization. At the moment, we're using several different platforms, and we have been really interested in creating our own because what's out there just doesn't cut it.
I hear that.
So really excited to see this and wondering, does version 1 enable a full user journey, like learning journey?
Well, I don't know what you mean by a full learning journey.
Oh, sure. So for example, someone coming on to...
Oh, shoot. You broke up there.
One-on-one videos, etc., all different styles and types of content, including webinars and meetings.
You broke up right in the middle of that, but I think that what you were describing sounded a lot like a typical learning management system with videos and content and stuff like that. And
correct. Yeah.
That is absolutely, yes. You'll be able to create all that.
And will we use the Entreport to host and store the content, or will that be?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, or you could embed stuff as you like. If you want to use Vimeo or YouTube or whatever it is, you'll be able to do that as well. You'll just create the links in the records, in the individual lesson records to whatever content that you like, and that'll show up as it needs to.
Sure, with member community comments, all of that kind of attached to it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You could do that. Comments would be built just like we did for the blog.
Pam's saying she's doing the same type of thing. Amazing. Awesome.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you, Amy. Bill. Mr. Doyle.
Brandon, how are you, mate?
Hey. How's it going?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Great. Thanks for being here.
That's all right. Last time we caught up was in Sydney. We shared a meal.
Yeah, I remember. That was pre this life. I can't wait for post this life. Do
awesome.
It again.
Mate, wow, you guys have been really busy. Awesome. Blowing away. Very good.
Yeah.
Next level.
Cool.
Quick question.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing up the old with the new, I guess. So it's kind of merging it together. The email side of things. Are you planning on dynamically bringing content into the email campaigns that could match, for instance, a blog, so that it brings in that particular dynamic content and then links automatically to the blog?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's going to be something that will not be available right at release, but it's literally a project that's at the very top of our list, probably kicking off this week or next. and will be something that will definitely be in the app before we begin to charge for it in January, February. So yeah, you're gonna have to do a little bit of coding for that. So we'll have a little bit of kind of HTML, if you're comfortable with that, that will allow you to pull that data into an email. When we redo our Entremail editor in the format of Entre Pages, then of course we'll build an interface for that. But in the short term, we're going to give you a little bit of like an HTML tag that allows you to pull dynamic content into an email and format it in the way you need to. So you could show the blog post title and a link to the blog post and have that be either the stuff you wrote this week or the stuff that maybe matches the interests of the particular contact or whatever it might be.
Yeah, cool. So that'll be part of the new email editor that's bringing in dynamic blocks like the pages are at the moment, sort of thing.
That's the long-term vision, to rewrite the entire email editor to match Entreport pages. So I know that it's been a long time. Many of you have thought that, God, why aren't they building this editor? Well, the reason is we wanted to get Entreport pages kind of all the way here, so that then when we take it and move it over to email, that it's kind of right the way we like it. So as much of this as possible, we're going to move into the email editor in a future version.
Great job, mate. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for being here. Michael again.
Yeah, this is my last one, I promise.
Okay.
So I was curious on how reporting would work with all this, of understanding how people are actually using this and what data would be available.
Well, what do you mean by using?
So like, for example, let's say that I'm creating a database of courses, or let's even say blog posts, and really trying to understand like who's actually using those blog posts from a data perspective in Entreport. I know you could probably get away with using like Google Analytics or something, but we all know how complicated that can be. So I'm curious on how the HubSpot platform will support me in understanding like who's actually viewing these pages, or who's viewing this course, and how can I'm sure, because I know the automation builder would be able to automate based on people visiting certain pages, for example. So I'm just curious on how that's going to be used from a reporting perspective. Does that make sense?
It does, and I like how you call this HubSpot there.
Sorry, we work on HubSpot as well. So.
It does, and there's going to be some of that stuff is going to be available in an early version. I think you'll be able to do some tracking based on individual pages. Of course, the individual pages themselves will have some basic data about how many people have visited and stuff like that. In future versions, we'll make that clickable so you can see who it was that visited those pages, or maybe tag those contacts, when they visit those pages and stuff like that. And yeah, I think that is it for the very short term. When we build sites, we're going to have some reporting in there as well that will show a little more detailed traffic information in site-wide traffic and stuff like that. Honestly, I suspect that using Google Analytics is going to also be a good idea. That tool is, I know it can be complicated, but for somebody who's a data nerd, I got to tell you that it's just an incredible platform that is basically impossible to beat, especially the price. So you'll certainly want to put a Google Analytics script on these pages. We certainly do.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Pete.
Another quick question, Landon. Yeah. Do you do RNG with this new build?
Did I say again?
Do you do RNG, random number generation?
Random number generation, not particularly. However, every record in Entreport, whether it's a contact or any other custom object, gets a unique ID. So for cases where you need kind of a unique number, that's what we use, is the unique ID. And it's alphanumeric. I think it's 6 or 7 characters.
Yeah. No, I've seen that. It's more about randomly generating results.
I don't know how. No, we don't have that functionality built in. That could be something you might use a Zap for. I'm sure that they probably do a random number for you or something like that.
Yeah, that's our workaround. All right, thanks, mate.
You bet. Okay, and Michael Wilson, are you back again, or did you forget to? lower your hand?
No, I think it's just still showing the hand.
Okay, cool. All right. I think we're probably there. We're way over time. I really appreciate you guys all being here for the duration. I'm going to go to Facebook now. I'm going to post about getting your use cases and your account IDs. Like I said, it won't be available today, but it might be as early as Thursday. If not, hopefully next week. But we'll keep you posted and keep the conversation going there. Thank you guys so much again for being here, and we will check you next time. Right.